Chosen one, you were instructed to absorb this in solitude for a purpose. Something occurred 72 hours ago that involves you directly while you continued your daily routine. A discussion took place in the spiritual dimension concerning your current season, not a casual mention, a deliberate conversation. And what was determined in that discussion is about to clarify everything you have been sensing but could not name before you dismiss this as just another spiritual message. Let me describe what you've been experiencing. That tightness in your chest that appears without explanation. That restlessness that interrupts your sleep at unusual hours. That sensation of being present in dialogues but emotionally distant. That knowing that something significant is approaching but remains unnamed. There is a specific explanation for all of this. Halt everything. Halt the scrolling. Halt the multitasking. Halt dividing your focus between this and anything else. If you are surrounded by others, this is not for them. If background noise exists, silence it. If your mind is occupied planning what comes next, set that aside because the divine just interrupted your entire day to communicate something that cannot be absorbed in fragments. This message was not designed to be background sound. This was designed to be obtained alone, in stillness, with nothing competing for your attention. If you cannot do that at this instant, save this and return when you can, because what is about to be communicated demands your complete presence, not your partial focus. Inhale deeply, a genuine one. Notice how your chest senses tighter than it should. Notice how your mind has been louder than usual. Notice how your spirit has since crowded even when you are physically isolated. That is not random. That is not stress. That is spiritual activity. And the divine pulled you here, away from everything and everyone, to communicate what is genuinely occurring and why you require to remain quiet for just a brief while longer. Let me begin with this. The explanation the divine said to absorb this alone is because what is about to be disclosed cannot survive being filtered through other people's opinions, questions, or energy. Some truths are so personal, so precisely timed, so specifically assigned to you that allowing anyone else into the space while you obtain them would dilute their power. This is one of those moments. This is one of those messages. This is one of those divine interruptions that only make sense to the individual it was sent for. Everyone else would hear words, but you are about to hear validation. You have been sensing isolated lately, have you not? Not just physically alone, but emotionally distant, spiritually separated, like you are standing in spaces full of individuals, but sensing completely disconnected from all of them, like dialogues occur around you, but nothing lands, like you are present in body, but your spirit is somewhere else entirely, and you have been questioning what is wrong. You have been wondering whether you are forcing yourself into isolation, whether you are becoming antisocial, whether you are pushing individuals away. But chosen one, what if none of that is accurate? What if what you are experiencing is not isolation at all, but insulation? The divine has been wrapping you in a spiritual cocoon, pulling you away from noise, drama, opinions, expectations, and even well-meaning voices that would interfere with what is being done inside you right now. Because you are in formation, you are being reshaped, you are being recalibrated, you are being enhanced at a level so deep that it cannot occur in public. It cannot occur in dialogues. It cannot occur while you are attempting to explain yourself to individuals who would not comprehend even if you possess the words. So the divine extracted the audience, cleared the space, silenced the voices not to punish you with loneliness, but to shield you during transition. Now let me communicate why this protection was necessary. Someone has been testing you, perhaps multiple individuals, not obviously, not aggressively, but subtly, strategically. They have been stating matters that poke at old injuries, bringing up topics they know trigger you, asking questions that seem innocent but land heavy. making comments that appear harmless but leave you unsettled. And the worst section is you cannot quite identify it because on the surface it appears fine, but your spirit knows. Your discernment picks up what your logic cannot prove. And you have been sensing irrational for being bothered by matters that technically were not attacks. But they were. They absolutely were. Just because someone smiles while they stab does not mean the knife is not genuine. Just because someone employs soft words does not mean the intention is not sharp. Just because someone acts concerned does not mean they are not testing to witness if you will react, defend, explain, or break. And the divine witnessed it. The divine sensed it. The divine said enough. That is why you were pulled here. That is why you were separated. That is why you are being instructed to remain quiet just a brief while longer. Because if you respond now, if you defend now, if you explain now, you will grant access to individuals who no longer possess clearance to your next level. Let me repeat that because it is critical. Not everyone who possessed access to your last season obtains access to your next one. Not everyone who knew the old you obtains to know the new you. Not everyone who walked with you through the valley obtains to walk with you to the mountain. And that is not cruel. That is not cold. That is wisdom. That is boundary. That is protection. Because the version of you that the divine is unveiling cannot coexist with individuals who are still attempting to relate to the version already buried. You have been noticing something lately. Your tolerance for certain matters has completely disappeared. Dialogues that used to be acceptable now sense draining. Individuals you used to enjoy now sense exhausting. Environments you used to navigate easily now sense suffocating. Drama that used to pull you and now repels you instantly. And you have been questioning if perhaps you are being too sensitive, too harsh, too judgmental. But what if you are not? What if your spirit has simply graduated to a frequency where dysfunction, fakeness, and chaos no longer resonate? What if the divine adjusted your spiritual antenna? So you cannot tolerate what used to sense normal, because normal was never supposed to be your permanent address. Here is what is genuinely occurring. The divine is teaching you a fresh language. The language of discernment. The language of silence. The language of boundaries without explanation. The language of walking away without closure. The language of trusting what you sense even when you cannot prove what you know. And this language cannot be learned in noise. It cannot be learned in crowds. It cannot be learned while defending yourself to individuals who question your growth. It must be learned alone, in stillness, in separation, in the quiet space between who you were and who you are becoming. And that space, chosen one, that is where you are right now. You are in the gap, the in-between, the transition zone. And it is uncomfortable because nothing is clear yet. You are not who you used to be, but you are not fully who you are becoming either. You are shedding old skin, but the fresh skin has not fully formed. You are leaving familiar territory, but you have not arrived at the fresh land yet. And this space senses vulnerable, exposed, uncertain, but it is also sacred. It is also necessary. It is also where transformation occurs. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by remaining comfortable. It becomes a butterfly by surrendering to a process that appears like death but leads to flight. Let me communicate what the adversary has been attempting to do. He knows you are in transition. He knows you're being shifted. He knows the divine is repositioning you for something larger, something deeper, something that will impact more individuals than your last season did. And he cannot halt what the divine already ordained. He cannot cancel what the divine already decreed. He cannot block what the divine already discharged. But what he can do is distract you, provoke you, drain you, bewilder you, get you to react emotionally instead of respond strategically. get you to defend yourself instead of trust divine defense, get you to explain yourself instead of let your existence be the explanation. So he's been sending test after test, dialogue after dialogue, scenario after scenario, all designed to pull you out of stillness and back into reaction, all designed to make you prove yourself instead of rest in divine approval, all designed to get you talking when the divine instructed you to be quiet. And if he can get you to break your silence prematurely, if he can get you to step out of alignment even for an instant, he delays what is approaching. He does not cancel it, but he delays it, and delay is his only weapon right now. That is why the divine is being so firm with you about remaining quiet. That is why you keep being redirected back to stillness every time you sense the urge to speak. That is why your peace is being protected so aggressively, because your silence right now is not weakness. Your silence is warfare. Every day you do not react is a day the adversary's plan fails. Every dialogue you do not engage is a trap you do not fall into. Every explanation you do not provide is energy you do not waste. Your stillness is not passive. Your stillness is powerful. Your stillness is obedience. And obedience always positions you for breakthrough. Now, let me address the guilt you've been sensing, because I know it is present. You sense guilty for pulling away from individuals. You sense guilty for not being as available as you used to be. You sense guilty for not explaining why you've altered. You sense guilty for not defending yourself when individuals misunderstand you. You sense guilty for protecting your energy when that means disappointing individuals who expect access to you. And that guilt sits heavy on your chest. It makes you question whether you're being selfish, cold, distant, or unkind. But chosen one, absorb me. Boundaries are not betrayal. Distance is not rejection. Silence is not cruelty. Protection is not punishment. And you are not responsible for managing other people's emotions about your obedience to the divine. You are not responsible for making individuals comfortable with your growth. You are not responsible for remaining small so others sense secure. You are not responsible for explaining spiritual shifts to individuals who are still living in the flesh. Your responsibility is to the divine first. Your responsibility is to your assignment. Your responsibility is to protect what the divine is constructing in you, even if that means disappointing individuals who expected you to remain the same. Let me communicate what is about to occur soon. Very soon, the fog is going to lift. The bewilderment is going to clear. The silence is going to break. And when it does, everything that has been hidden is going to be disclosed. The divine is about to expose motives you could not witness, intentions you could not prove, resistance you could not name, jealousy that wore a smile, manipulation that spoke softly, control that acted concerned. All of it is about to come to light. Not because you forced it, not because you confronted it, not because you defended yourself, but because the divine witnessed it and the divine is handling it. And when that exposure occurs, you're going to comprehend why you were instructed to remain quiet. You are going to witness why you were protected from speaking too soon. You are going to realize that if you had defended yourself, if you had explained yourself, if you had confronted individuals, you would have provided them ammunition to twist your words, question your motives, and delay your breakthrough. But because you remain silent, because you remain still, because you remain aligned, the divine obtains to defend you. And when the divine defends you, nobody can argue, nobody can manipulate, nobody can twist. The truth just is, and everyone witnesses it. But here is what you're required to comprehend. This exposure is not for revenge. It is for clarity. It is not to harm individuals. It is to liberate you. It is not to embarrass anyone. It is to establish boundaries. Because once the truth is out, once motives are clear, once intentions are exposed, you will know precisely who belongs in your next season and who does not. You will know precisely what relationships to commit to and which ones to discharge. You will know precisely what voices to absorb and which ones to ignore. And that clarity, that discernment, that is a gift the divine is providing you through this process. So right now, today, your task is simple. Remain still, remain quiet, remain aligned. Do not defend, do not explain, do not react, do not force, do not rush. Just trust. Trust that the divine witnesses what you witness. Trust that the divine knows what you know. Trust that the divine senses what you sense. Trust that divine activity is already working behind the scenes in ways you cannot witness. Trust that divine timing is perfect even when its sense is slow. Trust that divine silence is preparation, not absence. Trust that divine protection is active, not passive. And while you are waiting, while you are remaining still, let me communicate what else is occurring. The divine is strengthening you, deepening your roots so when the blessing arrives you can hold it, expanding your capacity so when the portal opens you can walk through it, sharpening your discernment so when the adversary attempts again you will witness him approaching, fortifying your boundaries so when individuals test you, you will not waver, establishing your identity so when criticism arrives it will not shake you, securing your peace so when chaos surrounds you, it will not enter you. This season of silence is not hollow. It is full. It is full of preparation. It is full of transformation. It is full of divine activity occurring beneath the surface. You cannot witness it yet. You cannot sense it yet, but it is occurring. Let me communicate about what you have been experiencing physically, because your body has been responding to the spiritual shift. You have been more exhausted than usual, not the kind of tired that sleep resolves, the kind of tired that sits in your bones, the kind of tired that makes you want to cancel plans even though you are not sick, and you have been questioning if something is wrong with you. But chosen one, there is nothing wrong with your body. Your body is responding to spiritual weight. You are holding something in the spirit realm that your physical body can sense but cannot fully comprehend. When the divine is reshaping someone, when revelation is being downloaded, when fresh levels of discernment and authority are being installed, the physical body experiences as pressure, as heaviness, as fatigue. That is why rest is so important right now. Your body requires rest because your spirit is working overtime. And it is not just physical tiredness. You have been experiencing emotional waves too, have you not? One moment you are acceptable, and the next moment tears arrive out of nowhere. One moment you are at peace, and the next moment you are inexplicably sad. And these emotional shifts are not connected to anything specific. Nothing occurred to trigger them. They just arrive and go like waves. But what if what you are experiencing emotionally is the old version of you dying and the fresh version of you being born? Death and birth are both messy processes. They are both painful. They are both uncomfortable. They are both necessary. You cannot remain the caterpillar and become the butterfly. Something must die for something else to live. And that death, that is what you are sensing emotionally. You are mourning versions of yourself that no longer serve you. You are discharging attachments that no longer fit you. You are releasing expectations that were never yours to hold. And that process hurts, but it is not breaking you. It is birthing you. Let me communicate about the signs because I know you've been witnessing them. Numbers that repeat, times on the clock that capture your attention. Songs that play at the precise moment you require to hear them. Scriptures that jump off the page when you absorb. And you have been questioning if you are reading too much into matters. But you are not. Those signs are genuine. Those validations are intentional. The divine is addressing to you in the language your spirit comprehends, leaving breadcrumbs for you to follow when the path ahead appears unclear, sending signals to remind you that you are not alone, that you are not forgotten, that you are not off track. Every repeated number is a wink from heaven. Every perfectly timed song is a message from your Father. Now, let me communicate what occurs after the season of silence breaks, because it will break. This is not permanent. This is a season, a specific appointed purposeful season. And when it is complete, when the preparation is finished, when the transformation is done, the divine is going to provide you a signal. You will sense it in your spirit before you witness it in your circumstances. You will know before you comprehend. And when that moment arrives, everything alters rapidly. Portals you halted knocking on will suddenly fly open. Opportunities you halted pursuing will suddenly pursue you. Resources you halted asking for will suddenly appear. Clarity you halted searching for will suddenly download. Direction you halted seeking will suddenly become obvious. And it will not be because you forced it. It will be because divine timing collided with your obedience. When the divine discharges you from the silence, when your mouth opens again, when permission to speak is provided, your voice will hold different weight. Your words will land different. Your presence will affect spaces different because you are not the same individual who entered the silent season. You went in requiring validation, and you are emerging secure. You went in reactive, and you are emerging responsive. You went in defensive, and you are emerging discerning. You went in loud, and you are emerging powerful. There is a difference between loud and powerful. Loud seeks attention. Powerful commands it without asking. And individuals are going to notice the difference immediately. Some will celebrate it. They will recognize that something shifted in you. These are the individuals who belong in your next season. These are the individuals who can handle the upgraded version of you. But others will not celebrate it. They will be uncomfortable with the new you. They will attempt to pull you back into old patterns. They will test your fresh boundaries to witness if they are genuine. They will question your growth as if growth requires their approval. And when you do not engage, when you do not defend, when you do not explain, they will get frustrated. They will call you altered as if it is an insult. They will accuse you of thinking you are superior, when really you just became superior to who you used to be. And here's what the divine is teaching you through this process. Not everyone who calls you altered is wrong. You did alter. You are different. But alteration is not betrayal. Growth is not abandonment. You are allowed to outgrow individuals. You are allowed to outgrow locations. You are allowed to outgrow versions of yourself. And you do not owe anyone an apology for becoming who the divine always intended you to be. You do not owe anyone an explanation for following divine direction. You do not owe anyone access to a level they are not equipped to enter. This is why the silence was necessary. Because if you have been talking through this whole process, if you have been explaining every shift, you would have provided individuals ammunition to talk you out of your transformation. You would have opened the portal for opinions that would have bewildered you. But because you remained quiet, because you processed privately, because you held your peace, you protected what the divine was doing. And now nobody can undo it. Nobody can reverse it. Nobody can talk you out of it. It is done. It is sealed. It is permanent. And one day, very soon, you're going to step into the fullness of what the divine prepared. And you're going to look back at this quiet season and thank the divine. You are going to witness that what seems like isolation was actually incubation. What seems like delay was actually development. What seems like silence was actually strategy. Your silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. Your stillness is not delay, it is strategy. Your separation is not punishment, It is protection. Remain close to the divine. Remain quiet before individuals. Remain aligned with purpose. Because what is approaching next demands a version of you that is being formed in the silence. And that version, that is the one the world has been waiting for. If this message sounds like it intercepted your precise moment, if it sounds like the divine just addressed directly into your scenario, do not just absorb and leave. Respond. Write amen in the comments. Not as a ritual, but as a declaration that you heard and you are selecting to trust divine timing over your emotions. You are selecting divine silence over your need to speak. You are selecting divine process over your desire for comfort. That one word, amen, it shifts something in the spirit. It is your agreement with heaven. And when you agree with heaven, heaven advances on your behalf. And if this message brought clarity to bewilderment, if it brought peace to chaos, if it brought validation to what you've been sensing but could not name, strike that like button. Your like could be what helps this message locate others at their precise moment of need. And one more matter, if someone arrived in mind while you were absorbing, someone who's been pulled away from everyone, someone who's been unusually quiet, someone who's been struggling to explain what they are experiencing, share this with them, because this might be the validation they have been petitioning for. This might be the message that helps them comprehend that their isolation is not punishment, it is preparation. Chosen one, remember this, your silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Your stillness is not delay, it is strategy. Your separation is not punishment, it is protection.